Welcome back, LEGO builders and Minecrafters, to episode 15 of building up Mumbo Season 8 base out of LEGO. Now, to start off today's episode, I finally went back to the LEGO store, so we now have a Pick-a-Brick Cup to open. Now, in the last episode, we got a bunch of this rock cliff done, and today I want to get a bunch more done. But we are just going to quickly gloss over that and not really spend too much video time on the cliffs, because you guys kind of already know the drill. We have a lot of cliffs to build. So before we get to building, we have this Pick-a-Brick here. I'm gonna have a little bit of issues because I have to do this single-handedly because my other hand's holding the camera. But, uh-oh, we got some parts stuck to the tape. I'll grab those later. In this Pick-a-Brick Cup, we just have a bunch more structure parts, so that's just all the random colors. And I also got a bunch of these, I guess they're kind of carrot tops, so that will help us a lot with doing all the kind of bushes and stuff on the cliffs. So yeah, that will be a big help for that. But otherwise, the rest of the parts are just all kind of filler brick and for structural parts. Now, oh yeah, I should mention, I did also grab a couple of these, I believe they're called medium nougat plates. So these will help doing all of the pathways that are going to be going up on top of this section here. But other than that, there isn't really too much fancy stuff in this Pick-a-Brick Cup. Now, for the first part of this video, I'm going to get a bunch of the cliff work done. Now that that's done, we can move on to the back section. As much as I want to move on, we can't, not really, because it's not even been like a minute into the video, and I've already done basically the better part of 2 days of work. So I did complete this entire section here. Now, I know from particularly this angle here, it looks like I did the entire side. I did not, sadly. Now, I would have liked to finish off like the majority of this side as well, but turns out I am going on a trip leaving today, so I'm going to have to try and get done as much like video recording as possible, so then you guys get an actually decently lengthed episode. Now, we already have done enough work to be an episode by itself, but I kind of did the mistake of doing that in one single jump cut. So yeah, this part of the cliffs here are looking pretty good. I did definitely want to incorporate a few more of the shelves in place. So this still is very similar to the photo here. You can see like there's those three kind of separate green little, I'm just gonna call them shelves because they jut out of the cliffs. But yeah, we've put those in place, and there's just something really kind of, maybe not quite alien, but there's just something cool with the look of having these like separate like green shelves with like kind of the rock bands going around. So I quite like how this entire section turned out. Now, there is one thing I think I mentioned in the previous episode about how this side of the cliff should have been like sloped a little bit more outwards, and that kind of lends to this entire like crooked look. So if you look at it from the side there, you can see like the entire cliffs kind of like slope that way when really they should be more flat. Now, I think it's fine. It does like change up the shape a little bit because the center should be right where this orange brick is. So this line right here that goes down the rock should be where the center is, and that would have happened if I had a bigger like slope here, so I could like, you know, slope it out and then have a nice flat space in the middle. But I think it's fine how it turned out. Obviously, you know, it looks close enough to what Mumbo's mountain looks like, so I think we're good there. Now, one reason that this took so long, even though it's actually like not that much space, like I only completed this area here, it's that going around this kind of curve is quite difficult, and I had to pull off quite a few really wacky and weird tricks. So one of them was like extending out the studs on this side over there, and I had to like mess with a bunch of like connectivity and that sort of thing all throughout there. And now I know everything here kind of just stops abruptly, and that's because most of these I've measured out perfectly so that we can add, you know, bricks over here and then start adding parts along the side, so then it can continue that shape fairly smoothly. And one thing that I learned from the other side over there that you can't see is that to have lots of different kind of variation in distance, so then we don't get like one like easily seen line that we can see that goes down the entire cliff, where it transitions from the studs facing that way to the studs facing outwards. So that is something that I picked up on from the previous like curvature that I did on the other side. So I think that's basically everything I have to say about this section of rock. I think my favorite part that came out is this little kind of rounded part right there. But yeah, overall, I think this entire front section here looks pretty darn good. Now the section that I want to move to today is actually on the floor behind me, so it's that little back section, so we'll see what we can do. Now that we have this back quadrant on the table, the section that I want to get done are these little walls here. Now another thing I would like to do, although I don't know if I'll be able to do it just today, as I do have to leave, is to put in a couple of lights. So I know down here we kind of gave the fake impression of lights, or in the case of Mumbo's base, it's sea lanterns with these little light blue, I don't know the actual Lego color, but these light blue little studs there. So that works pretty well for giving like the impression of light. But up here, I just want to have 3 main little like sections that are going to have actual lights in place. Then we have this entire like storage system area illuminated. Now, as of right now, I don't think I have the lights necessary to do this, so a good thing for me to do while I'm away is order up some lights that will be able to fit in both this side and the side that's back there. But other than that, with the parts that I got from a Bricklink order a couple of episodes ago, we can try and finish out the majority of these walls with just leaving out the little section up above where the light is going to go. And then another thing that I can do while I'm away is either take this thing with me, or at least take a couple of photos, and then design out kind of the structural system that's going to be holding up the entire roof, because that is going to be an engineering nightmare, because we're going to have to try and figure out a way to have a slanted roof that then supports all the weight above of like the entire temple and everything, plus also it can't like connect together at the top because we need everything to be able to like separate so then we can actually transport the entire thing. So it is going to be a big hassle, and hopefully I'll be able to design that while I'm away. But for now, let's just try and get as much work as I possibly can get done with these parts before I have to leave. This section is honestly looking so much better now that we have these walls done, and it's just generally nice to see something that is mostly complete. Now, I did leave these little notches on top of each of these 3 sections, and that is where we are going to be putting the lights in, so I've planned ahead for that. But otherwise, everything with this wall looks pretty darn good, and everything actually lines up fairly nicely here, so this entire like top section here will connect to this pillar, and then we'll be able to round everything off, make it nice and sturdy, and then build up like the roof structure from there. Now, since I've been stuck doing cliffs for so long, it is actually quite nice to take a slight break from that and just build up something different. And I did kind of forget how fun these walls are to build. It's just something with these textures and just the ease at which the design is made. It's just super fun to build up these walls, and they look fairly decent for how much work was put into them. Now, sadly, I wasn't able to finish that section over there. Main reason is I'm running out of time, and also I'm running out of these dark bluish gray parts, so I'll have to order those while I'm away. But yeah, otherwise I think we did a fairly good job in this episode. So yes, this is the end of the episode now. I know I would have liked it to be a lot longer, and we could have done the entire side of the cliffs there, but we did get this section of the cliffs done, so that entire front area is looking pretty fantastic, and we got this entire wall done as well. So, you know, that's fairly decent progress for an episode. So thank you so much for watching, and with all that said, Gigahertz Productions out.